script, finished up everything, just finalizing a little bit, just doing a little bit of finalizing. I'm sorry if I'm not feeling like the usual self, to be honest, with stuff happening in my life, which. But anywho, I would feel like this arc is actually pretty good. And yeah, if you read the title, we are going to review. Oh, oh, the lawsuit arc. Yes, the lawsuit arc. Well, okay, let's talk about the Revelations arc. By the way, I already reviewed arcs based on their playlist, so yeah. To recap, I think it's a good arc, and I do enjoy it. But my only complaint I have with that arc is. And okay, first of all, I say it's a much better arc than the Rapping Bob arc, but because I say the story mainly because there's a story happening and everything, and I do enjoy Melody's character development, but even though Revelation story is mostly shenanigans, but I kind of like, which I would also say make one of the kind of problems is one of the kind of lanes, and still not believe is dead, even though there was a thing called Win the Battle, but not the war, or thing motivations speech I said, but I honestly wish they worked on. I kind of wish they didn't. Well, suddenly Axel's dead. Make Melody the main character, which I kind of like, but I felt like it fell a bit too much on the focus. I wish they focused less on her, a bit less on her, a bit less, and also give a bit more screen time towards the other aspects of the arc and the box club, which I felt they rarely did anything throughout the entire arc. The only thing they ever did was pretty much show off the God box, and I also applied to their leader, which the first thing we saw before the main antagonist and their leader dies in the first few minutes of the movie, which I kind of had problems with, and dealing with pretty much the canonical lore, which in my opinion is good, but had some mostly problems with Revelations. After dealing with the canonical lore, which in my opinion is good, but it has problems with, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the 10 lawsuits. Yeah, we're going to do is smg4's lawsuit arc. We started with this video. SMG. Yeah, surprising we're getting to episodes. Yeah, which before I would say least likely for them to get that, but to be honest, then which is surprising we're getting they announced it early on. Alright, time for the first episode. SMG4 getting sued. The episode begins with SMG4 luckily been just happily until we were getting a letter from Nintendo and decided to hide Mario and who has been chilling in the garden and eating Pikmin. I mean, they're vegetables, so yeah. Anyways, we get to the legal team led by Laura Kong, who is basically Funky Kong and former Colodes. So the reason why they want to be because honestly, we haven't had any Mario games in like a while. Yeah, like it's almost been 5 or 6 years now. While confirming for a Nintendo game somewhere around next year and maybe, but yeah, it's been a while, and also a movie is coming out soon sometime next year, so yeah, early next year, so yeah. And then the lawyer shows up with an intellectual property EIP contract. Mario was horrified and runs away. Finally got caught, and SMG4 can do nothing because he doesn't want to make Nintendo mad. Yeah, we're going to the new Mario game, and Bowser again is getting shot. Meanwhile, Nintendo HQ, we see the new Mario game, and yeah, I'm not gonna read the full title out, but. And basically pulls out a gun. Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't argue again. Yeah, then again, Kirby. He has range ability, able to use single revolver, or dual wielding, and laser gun. In his recent adventures in the Forgotten Land. Kind of hypocritical, but okay. Kind of ironic and hypocritical, but okay. Anyways, his lawyer on the intellectual property contract suddenly tells him to obey his creator. Yeah, Maggie, but at Peach's castle, Maggie brings Mario home and is just like, yeah, hey Mario, I brought the smg4 home, dude. And smg4 was like, dude, you're supposed to not. That's with Nintendo, and we get to a cool fight sequence and everything. And lawyer call home to DMCA. Shigeru Miyamoto decided why not to basically make a Luigi gardening game. Yeah, so the lawyers call to tell Mario that this is then the last time we see him, and we see a game review of Luigi's gardening game using the classic IGN review board instead of the usual modern one. About episode and pretty much that a week later happened later and after pretty much a Nugget episode later. Anyways, yeah, I think smg4 getting sued is a pretty good episode. Next up we get to Mario can't play with you anymore. Yes, it begins with everyone acting like Nintendo slates. Mario noticing everyone acts like Nintendo states, and going outside and noticing a firewall. smg4 and Maggie sit side of the building and found that Lawyer Khan basically just added a firewall to Nintendo setup to keep the trash out. He has set up a firewall to return the Mushroom Kingdom back to normal and waiting for the imprisoning Nintendo's Mushroom Kingdom citizens to brainwash them to how they before or smg4 had arrived. If you have watched the Origins video, you've probably seen it. But I do recommend you watching the previous arcs before you're watching the YouTube arc, before watching the Origins episode, and mainly because it'll be the second episode of the Genesis arc, and also some slight importance to see what the main Guardians will be coming later. Showing the effects going on over time of it with Luigi, and sort of creeping away. But so basically, smg4 and Maggie tried to break it in by ripping off the stand rush. Hey, you're not Jotaro, Jolene, or anyone for the Joestar bloodlines. And that isn't in Josuke Part 4 or Giorno. Because they have their own, except for Josuke Part 4 and Giorno have separate stand cries. Although you're Trish, but you're not. Your stand pretty much soften things. Okay. Also, hello, quickly throwing cameo of SNG3. Runs the car but fails. Apparently, either rule. And SNG4 ignores the rules of never dig down. Dig straight down. As he doesn't know the microphone of never digging down. Okay. SNG4 and Meg, he noticed the checkpoint, and that I know it's rare that is basically Microsoft, or that, and by the way, I'm happy we're going on getting a PC coming, although I'm still waiting for a PC port at some point, getting detail. SNG4 serves a reply to Nintendo for DMCA, meaning that everything will get erased. Meanwhile, the detained also, why is Bayonetta doing here? Yeah, I know it's not the best time to talk about considering her voice, because of some weird voice actors' payments recently. Yeah, what's with voice actors and payments right now? Yeah, but that's a story for another day, and I don't feel like talking about that controversy in the channel yet. I do hope Bayonetta 3 is pretty good and does well. I don't feel like, oh hey, it's gonna be bad because of voice actor reasons. Still, I respect and everything and all, but I do hope the game still does well, pretty good. But I just don't think it's gonna be bad because voice actor reasons. But that's a story for another day, and I feel personally I don't want to talk about it because I'm not feeling like controversies today. Okay, so yeah. Uh, anyway, Sonic explained that non-Nintendo characters that are had some Nintendo are usually a gray area whether or not they would be or not to be if they're not approved to get they get shipped to Galeem. I'm not the best example technically because technically Banjo is Nintendo, but still Microsoft, but still Nintendo technically at the start. So yeah, still dealing with the betrayal, buyouts, and everything. Anyways, tried to break up Phoenix, who was in the prison, and decided to inspire a new game. Pitched a fake idea, and basically Nintendo's Phoenix Wright to give in their SMG4 and Maggie temporary IP holder changes, and we got to SMG4's new art, working on a new arc, but Maggie points out how almost every arc was depressing except for the Rap and Bob arc, which is more lighter. It's a bit calm, sad moments, but depressing. Phoenix Wright shows up and gives them basically a temporary way to get in there. And like this. Maggie gets to go back to his older design, Inkling design. Shocking reaction. I know it's temporary, but I'm pretty happy. And SMG4 decided to look. Yes, a good episode and pretty much a bit of a war dumping. That's me. Answer. We begin with if Mario was in Splatoon 3. Answer me. Yeah, so basically Mario X Splatoon crossover game. It got to be good. Yeah. Yeah, probably I would like to see that maybe in like 10 years time. We'll make this, but yeah. Maggie finds Mario and tells him glad, and Mario doesn't. But Mario doesn't remember. We get back to a few minutes earlier. SMG4 signed in the contract. Basically decided to go with a Stanley the Bugman design. Yeah, seriously, what's with teasing time? Design I kind of like, but I'll talk about the design fully later a bit. We get to the funny shenanigans until Big Man's birthday bash, as well as a winning tournament accidentally causing some cringe. Anyways, all failed. You decide to go with the last resort, and turns out that use it memes. Surprisingly, it works. And turns out Inkopolis is pretty much in a legal meme policy. Illegal meme policy. Actually, it's SMG4. I can sing when SMG4 goes back to himself and lead the city legally, also taking Luigi. Ending with Luigi confusion. Overall, pretty good episode, and I think better one out of them mostly, but we'll get to something later. We get to Breaking Luigi. Yeah, I'm going to say this out loud, and I'm going to. I'm going to say it out loud. Most the episode is pretty much a Breaking Bad episode for the most part. Yeah, I'm not gonna say much about it other than, oh hey, Breaking Luigi. Yeah, like what I said, Breaking Luigi, Breaking Bad episode until Lawyer can't catch those two again. And then SG4 and Maggie deciding to go somewhere different knowledge of the firewall and in the episode. Next up, we got to SG4. Nintendo has cleaned this video. Yeah, we're gonna begin with Mario and Luigi going to the dungeon. Shigeru Miyamoto wanting to know what happened to Lawyer Con explain is the situation. Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to ask how to do it, and the opposite. Meanwhile, back to the King Castle, and after so much weird shenanigans in the background, and including a multiplier cameo for some reason. Meanwhile, back at the dungeon where Shigeru Miyamoto was about to sign the Mario DMCA. Mario decided to go get an idea for a new game, choosing the series of montages until the lost Phoenix. And meanwhile, in between lawsuit segments, we get to a bunch of random montages. smg4 finally uses the thing that could prevent the whole DMCA, would be a parody lawsuit. Then we go to the Phoenix Wright statement, and we get to Lawyer Kong had enough and just decided to sign the contract. But Maggie had the parody contract and everything, and Lawyer Kong just slaps it out of her hands. Not gonna make that obvious Will Smith joke, even though that's a bit of a dead meme, and I think we would have forgiven this guy, but I think he would have done a better performance, to be honest, at the award ceremony. Alright. And pretty good episode. Alright, next episode. Goodbye, smg4, which we don't know it's not the end yet, honestly, yet. We get with the sad opening, we talk about the most popular video, the time he got his something is stuck in the door. Not gonna say it because of monetization reasons, as well as the you pretty much was. Just wait to intro this decade. That represent the last two arcs, and after a final go day, deleting his channel. Look at a bunch of montages, finding out the parody contract and everything, and all that. Mario goes all the way to Kirby being the judge, kind of 50 considering where his name comes from. John Kirby, Nintendo's lawyer during the Universal Studio. The Commonwealth Nintendo lawsuit. Sorry if I didn't mention it early on, but I think it wasn't important. Also, someone got Kirby's voice actor for this episode being Heather Nielsen, who I think Metarunner fans may be familiar with her as Sophia Potter. And Kirby saw the parody contract and decided to bring back his friends. And then we also get to a Better Call Saul joke. And then again, Breaking Bad kind of ended. And, I think Breaking Bad ended fine. I think it ended perfectly because it feels like those franchises that didn't really have a lot more to worth, and it feels like it keeps it a bit more consistent. Unlike I'm looking at you, Tales Arcadia. Even though I think you're good, I still think I hope you decided to continue the franchise and everything without you had so much potential, and yet you ended a bit too early. And the court case begins, which begins the War of the Fat Italians 2022. Okay, another arc that is another wolf fee. It's getting kind of repetitive at this point, but I'll try to. Well, I'm gonna say this. I have a complaint. Okay, before we go to the finale, I want to say this real quick that the whole arc, my only problem with the whole arc so far, and this is the only problem, my only complaint, would be Lawyer Kong, who, in my opinion, it has got to be one of my least favorite, my second least favorite villain in this entire SNG4 arc series and whatnot. He, I would say in my opinion, doesn't really have interesting motivations or interests. He just kind of just exists. Yeah, he just kind of exists. And didn't really have much, what I like to say in my opinion, interesting motives or anything. He just feels like, hi. Yeah, I am pretty much like the lawsuit people. And yes, I get it. Sue people for some for an effing reason and whatnot. Yeah, I know he's supposed to be basically Nintendo being overprotective of their properties. Using one of their cease and desist letters, even though I don't think they're evil or greedy, but still. He comes off as just like this one-dimensional villain half the time, and I kind of would. And again, I always find as villains in SNG4 arcs never really interesting usually. Aside from Niels as well as Waluigi. SMG3, but nowadays more of his friend, more to him, more of a friend to him nowadays, and has an energetic graveyard to take care of, including also dealing with Dread. So yeah, I don't think he's really the, I would say, main antagonist as he used to be, but yeah, that's kind of something. At least I felt Niels and Waluigi felt like interesting villains. The interesting ones, sure, Waluigi, yeah, those are, at least what I would say in my opinion, interesting villains in my opinion. SRG3 is also an interesting villain, but nowadays I think he's more of a good guy nowadays. So yeah, like I said, he's became more of a friend of him and the internet graveyard to take care of. So yeah. Okay, now we can get to the finale. Oh yeah, after the week of means finale. The big day is here. The day of judgment is here. War of the Fat Italians 2022. Another arc ender part, and you get the point. Anyways, I feel like, well, anyways, we begin with, the episode begins with a brief recap. Yes, we begin with a brief, sorry, I think that's, was, I'm not gonna talk, we get to a couple of challenges. SG4 decided to do a couple of suggest a couple of challenges to do. And the last one was something that took a bit too close to home. I do hope we get an update one day, but still. After that, the court rules in favor of SMG4, but due to a stalemate, rap battle. Yeah, getting kind of I don't really hate those, but I got their game repetitive. It gets really repetitive. Why can't we just go back to pre-2015? Anyways. After the rap battle, they proved not guilty. Lawyer Kong basically decided to become Funky Kong again and decided to leave selling illegal weaponry. I do feel like, yeah, I don't really like a villain anyways. He felt too one-dimensional as a villain. And I wish he got some for the bigger I wish he had some... Excuse me, bigger consequences or something, excuse me for my father, than just simply stop being a lawyer and kind of flying off. So they go over for some reason. Anyways, Miyamoto reveals himself and really just likes the whole situation, cool guys and everything. But for some reason, he wants him to not look like Mario under one condition, as the only condition for some reason. It feels completely random, and I think SMG4 is doing fine living in Australia, not in the US, and I don't feel like he really needs to just feel like, whoop, time to redesign my characters, for some effing reason. He actually accepts it because of his friends and got the redesign. And I'll talk about the redesigns later. Same goes with SMG3. Bob and Fishy bootcamps were also given for different reasons because comments were flooding apparently. Yeah, kind of understandable, but I kind of wish there was a bit of a joke or running gag or something that could just go with the, hey, we're going to redesign the characters throughout the entire arc. I kind of wish they squeezed in that joke a bit or something like that, or at least slightly foreshadow they're going to get redesigns. I always feel like this yeah, someone called it. And then like, oh. Yeah, sorry, I need to go sorry, I was just checking for something else. I felt, to be honest, I felt it was kind of there. It felt like it was just thrown in at the last second. I kind of wish they at least do some build up and not just thrown in as just a random ass moment just for the sake of, we need to pretty much change the designs because we need to make sure we don't get lawsuited by Nintendo. Well, anyways, I'll talk about the redesigns once I finish up a bit of this review as well as everything else. So after that, we get to pretty much sometime later, we see Luigi becoming Breaking Luigi. Everyone discussing the redesigns for the most part, and Funky Kong selling the arc ends with Funky Kong selling weaponry. Let's see, man. Overall, War Fat 10 is pretty good, but just can we go with something pre-2015 because rap battles, despite being good, gets repetitive after a while. I'm sorry, I felt the War of Fat 10's got repetitive after a while. I kind of wish we got something unique, to be honest. Anyways, overall, I think the Lawsuit arc is pretty good, but like I said before, I don't really like the villain. SMG4's redesign, I think, for the most... Let's start with the redesigns. I felt SMG4's design was... Actually, yeah, it does feel like a bit more on the cartoonish design a bit. I think Walt still kept some aspects of him, but more look like his own character. Mostly, I would say his face and head feels more of his own character rather than that. As for SMG3, mostly to fit more in line with what John Bailey is, the current voice actor of SMG3. He's continuing to look. Okay. Yeah, I was more to favor that design. And, okay, now let's talk about the two minor ones in my opinion. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I'm about this month. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna say my thoughts on Fishy Bookins as well as Bob's designs were alright, but I felt Fishy Bookins was one of my least favorite. I also kind of wish they went for a bit more of some. Although I do enjoy a bit of shoutouts to Stormhound 2101 on Reddit for, I would say, better depictions of these characters. I would imagine. I prefer they went for a bit more of this designs. It feels like it makes a bit more sense. I did feel like Bob's design a bit more, and while I admit I felt Bob's design tries to mostly feel like stay the same, albeit with a bit more of just a slight touches. And Fishy Bookins is just, let's make him feel like a freaking bullet, look like a random model for some reason. I kind of wish they go with a better design for Fishy Bookins a bit more than just this. The same goes with Bob. I felt Bob, I think Fox design is much better out of the two, but still. As for SMG4 and SMG, and yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, we all know why people were having wrongs with those designs. Anyway, SMG4, anyways, yeah, and I felt like like I said before, I felt the lawyer should have been a bit more punished a bit. It feels more like a villain win scenario rather than a bittersweet ending. Anyways, I'm going to expect a change to our org in like a day or two, asking to change back everything back to normal, bring back all the old designs and everything, as well as chaos in the subreddit. Anyways, for my last thing, I would say my replacement. I would say my artist replacement would be somewhere around Revelations and Waluigi. Anyways, till next time, guys. Bye, and I can't wait for all the You know who! All the chaos in the subreddit, as well as the change.org subreddit. Anyways, bye! Hey? Alright, I forgot. Anyways, yeah, in all seriousness though, yeah, I'm gonna expect basically at least two things, to be honest, of that what's gonna happen after this arc. And yeah, I would like to sort of make a quick announcement that after this arc, I'm gonna take maybe 1 or 2 weeks off a bit of it. I'm thinking about just after the first two, after this arc, after the 2 weeks after this arc, I'm gonna be taking a nice little break for SMG4. I want to see a little bit of the aftermatch. I just want to see a little bit of the aftermatch before taking a sort of hiatus, taking a break from SMG4. Like, I don't know. I kind of want the lowest I'm going for 5 years, or at least somewhere around 8 or 9 years. I'm going around 8 or 9 years time. Lowest I'm going is 5. Mostly because after the redesigns, I'm thinking no one is going to be caring about SMG. Yeah, I'm just feeling there's going to be a lot of chaos and destruction ensues after the whole redesign. And I remember talking about this redesign on Reddit like I think 2 or 3 years ago, and people were angry at those redesigns. And hopefully, and yes, hopefully after this arc we are just gonna go, well, that's that. Anyways, I would like to say thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe to my channel, and say guys next and goodbye. So yeah, bye. Like I said before, it's backatchange.org and chaos on the subreddit. Bye.